Good morning guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be having a look at an IGCSE Economics paper 2, and that is February-March 2024, paper variant 22. We're going to be having a look at section B, question 3. Alright, let's get it. Okay, so here's the paper that it's coming from, just to confirm, February-March 2024, paper variant 22. And here's the source material for question 3 of section B. I'm going to quickly read through it and then I will highlight some interesting talking points from the source. Some firms in Monaco have experienced external growth. Firms in Monaco pay high wages. Workers in Monaco benefit from fiscal policy which contributes to high employment. The government does impose VAT on food, or VAT on food, including fruit. Some economists have suggested that instead of taxing fruit, government should provide free fruit to consumers. Alright, so some things that stood out here as interesting to me: external growth. So external growth is when firms merge or a firm takes over another firm, and the reason they do that is to lower costs, production costs, or get more access to more factors of production, so capital, land, labor, right, and to increase your market share so you can get more customers. And the point here is to reduce costs, gain economies of scale, and increase profit. So that's the point of a merger, which is a merger is external growth. Okay, firms in Monaco pay high wages. Fiscal policy. So workers benefit from fiscal policy. So fiscal policy is the system of setting taxation, and then the government receives revenue, tax revenue from that system of taxation, and then it uses that revenue as its budget, which you can use for education and training, investing in capital, investing in infrastructure, things that are going to improve the quality and quantity of our factors of production, and also improve the mobility of our factors of production. And if the government can do that, then we'll be able to increase our PPC and our production possibilities. Our production capacity will increase in the economy and we will have economic growth. Also, we should have more employment opportunities, which should lead to a higher standard of living. The government does impose VAT, so VAT on food, which is an indirect tax. Okay, and then they've got a question of the government's thinking, should we be taxing fruit? Because we know fruit is healthy, right? So it's going to improve the health and productivity, potentially, of our labor. So then the government's thinking, they're considering, should we make fruit free? Should we provide fruit free to consumers? And that's probably going to be something that comes up in the questions. So please note, unlike section A, in section B, you don't actually have to use examples from the source. You can just use your previously studied examples or your own knowledge. Okay, so here are the questions. Let me quickly move the camera. Question A is define external growth of firms, 2 marks. B, explain 2 reasons why low-skilled workers might be highly paid, 4 marks. C, analyze how fiscal policy can increase employment, 6 marks. D, discuss whether or not a government should provide free fruit to consumers, 8 marks. Okay, so what I've done is I've just taken each question, I've snipped it, and I've put it in a slide so we can break it down and go through them individually. Quickly, a quick review of the types of points available in IGCSE Economics. So you've got knowledge points, which I think of as basically just facts or points. You've got analysis points, which you can think of as explaining these points and facts. You've got application points, which you can think of as providing economic examples. And then you've got evaluation points, which you can think of as showing that you can see the benefits and disadvantages of some sort of point or discussion. So seeing the good and bad, advantages, disadvantages, pros, cons, fors, against, however you think of it. That's what we're trying to show here, weighing up both sides of a discussion or a debate. That's an evaluation point. And my acronym to remember is PEED. P for point, E for explain, E for example, and D for discussing or debating. Alright, so question A, define external growth of firms. It's a define question for 2 marks. So all we have to do here is kind of give 2 points that sort of explain what external growth of firms is. So really, external growth is when firms merge together, and then that would be my first point. My second point is a merger should increase, and then you can give sort of anything that follows logically. Access to resources of factors of production. So we're going to increase access to resources, increase production quantity, increase or improve our economies of scale, which is as we produce more, the average cost of one good decreases, so then it becomes more profitable. Increase market share, increase revenue, increase profit. So if you sort of said any of these facts, then you should get another point. So we should get a knowledge point for external growth is when firms merge, and then we'll get another point for saying any of these reasons why. And then I think we should get our 2 marks. Okay, moving on. So question B, explain 2 reasons why low-skilled workers may be highly paid. Okay, intuitively we would think low-skilled workers, okay, there should be a high supply of them, easy to find, low education, so they should theoretically be paid low wages, right? So why are they highly paid in this case? Why could they be highly paid? It's an explain question for 4 marks. So how we set up this question, giving your first point for why some low-skilled workers might be highly paid, and explaining it, then giving another point or another fact, another reason, and explaining it. So my first point is, if there's a high demand or low supply of low-skilled workers, there will be a shortage, right, of workers. So now I'm going to explain that. When demand is high, prices increase. In this case, the price of labor is wages, right? That's all wages means. It means the price of labor. So when demand is high, wages are going to increase. And if we have you don't have to draw a supply and demand graph. I just want to link it to the theory for you. So when demand increases, shifts to the right, you will see there will be an increase in equilibrium price. So wages would increase here. When supply is low, prices or wages will also increase. And if you see if there's a decrease in supply, so a left shift, inward shift of supply, price will also go up, so there will be an increase in wages. My second point is labor laws and regulations. So if legal minimum wage is high, then low-skilled workers will be highly paid. All right, let's see how we're getting our points here. So I've got there a knowledge point, I've got an analysis point, another knowledge point, and another analysis point, and I've given myself a shot at a full 4 marks. Okay, so moving on. Analyze how fiscal policy can increase employment. All right, so it's an analyze question about how fiscal policy can increase employment for 6 marks. So how am I going to set this up? I'm going to give 1 point and explain an example. Then I'm going to give another point, explain example, and I should give myself a shot at 6 marks here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hedge my bets a bit, play it safe. I'm going to go for a definition of fiscal policy, just in case I can qualify for a knowledge point. So I've said fiscal policy is the system of setting taxation, or tax, and setting the government budget for government spending from that tax revenue. Okay, so my first point is lower taxes on firms. So again, let's go back to the question. We want to analyze how fiscal policy can increase employment. So if we lower taxes on firms, then firms have more budget to spend on resources. Okay, one of our resources or factors of production is also labor. So that means if a firm has to pay less tax, it can use that extra budget to increase production by hiring more labor. So employment will increase. Okay, so now I'm looking for my second point. If we increase the percentage of welfare payments in the government budget, okay, by giving more welfare payments to lower income people, people can have more disposable income to buy goods. Okay, just in reflection, maybe I shouldn't have said people if I wanted to be more economically correct here, or more stringent with the theory, the vocabulary from the theory, I might have said individuals. So By giving more welfare payments to lower income individuals, individuals can have more disposable income to buy goods. Let me just move the camera. If disposable income increases, then demand will increase. Firms will want to increase their supply, so they will hire more labor to produce more goods, so employment will increase. Okay, let's go have a look at how we're getting our points here. So I gave myself a shot at a knowledge point, maybe from defining fiscal policy. Then I've given lower taxes on firms, that's another knowledge point, an analysis point for explaining it, an application point for explaining how that looks in the real world. And then I've given myself, okay, increased percentage of welfare payments in the government budget, that's another knowledge point. I've explained that, so given myself a shot at a analysis point, and then I've sort of explained how that will work in the real world, in the actual economy. So that's an example. So I've given myself a shot at a application point there. Okay, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've given myself 7 markable points, so I should be able to get my full 6 points. Okay, last question, D. Discuss whether or not a government should provide free fruit to consumers. So it's a discuss question for 8 marks. Discuss always means a debate or an argument, well, not quite argument, but discussion, right? We're talking about both sides of the story here. So discuss whether or not a government should provide free fruit to consumers. So we want to talk about why the government should. So what would be the economic benefits of providing free fruit? And then on the other hand, we want to discuss why it might not be a good idea. So why the government should not provide free fruits, right? And if we've shown that we've got 2 paragraphs discussing both sides there, then we're gonna, that is an evaluation, and we're giving ourselves a shot at those evaluation points that are gonna be the important points to get the full 8 marks. Okay, so this is how I'm gonna set up my question. I'm gonna give some points so some points why the government should provide free fruit. I'm gonna explain them, and then I need to show that I'm debating. And then I'm going to transition to my second paragraph, which is on the other hand. So on the other hand is, I just find that my students, on the other hand is memorable for them, and it's easy for them to show their transition to the other side of the argument. And I'm going to set that paragraph up in the same fashion. I'm going to give points so against here, so why the government should not provide free fruit, and I'm going to explain and show that I'm debating that. Okay, so my first point, fruit is a merit good because it is healthy and could reduce long-run spending on healthcare. So there you go, those are some economic benefits. I'm going to explain that. If more fruit is consumed, then the population will be healthier. A healthier population means labor can produce more goods, so supply and GDP will increase, which results in economic growth. A healthier population also means that government could spend less of its budget on healthcare and use that budget on other supply side policies or providing public goods that are needed. And then I'm going to quickly link to the debate. These examples show how government providing free fruit might be beneficial. Okay, so I've just tied up my paragraph showing that this paragraph is about why the government should provide free fruit. And then I'm going to transition, so on the other hand, and now I'm going to debate against providing free fruit. So I want to discuss why the government should not provide free fruit. Providing free fruit, let me move the camera, sorry. Providing free fruit would be expensive for the government and might reduce the efficiency of the allocation of resources in the economy. So remember, efficient allocation of resources means our markets are in equilibrium, there's no shortages or surpluses, we haven't wasted any resources, right? If we have a shortage or a surplus, it means we could have used those resources somewhere else, or we could have used resources from somewhere else in this market, right? So we don't want any shortages or surpluses. The government could have spent the fruit budget on supply side policy measures or providing needed public goods and services, could have paid off national debts or kept that revenue to have a larger future budget. So there's an opportunity cost here, right? If we spend our money on free fruit, well, we've lost that money that we could have spent on other needed public goods, services, supply side policies, right? Or tending to our national budgets, right? So if we spend our money on free fruit, our budget on free fruit, there's an opportunity cost there to the government. If the government provides free fruit, then there might be a surplus of fruit in the fruit market and shortages of goods in other markets, right? That makes sense. If we're providing free fruits and maybe people don't really want to consume them, we're going to be left with so much fruit here, whereas we could have used those resources somewhere else, right? We could have used that budget somewhere else to make sure that another market in our economy was in equilibrium, a market where people are actually consuming those goods. Okay. So I'm going to quickly revise that. If the government provides free fruit, there might be a surplus of fruit in the fruit market and shortages of goods in other markets, which is market failure because markets are not in equilibrium and shows that resources are not being used efficiently or in the best way possible. Okay. And then I'm going to sign off by saying, just finishing off my paragraph linking to this side of the debate, these examples show how government providing free fruit might not be beneficial. Okay, so let's go have a look at how we might have got our points here, how we gave ourselves a shot at 8 points. Okay, so I got a knowledge point, an analysis point, an application point, and then I should get an evaluation point here for showing my transition to the other side of the argument. Now the knowledge point, analysis point, application point, and then by finishing off, I should give myself, I've shown that I've evaluated both sides of the argument, and then I should give myself a shot at the full 8 marks. Okay, so don't forget guys how our small cheeky little hack to remember how to score points in IGCSE Economics: P for point, E for explain, E for example, D for debate. Okay, please note that the answers that I've given you here we're not only limited to my answers, these are just the answers that came to mind for me that seemed most logical. But if you've given your own logical and factually correct answers and explanations, those will also get you points, okay? Because as we know, the mechanism of the economy is wide and varied, and there are many transitions, transmissions, and many effects that can happen. So if you've given a factually correct and explained those points logically, those will also get points, okay? All right, so don't forget, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much.